Thanks, Tim. Thanks, ShareCafe, for having me. Thanks, listeners. Pleasure to be here from Cardboard Rocks. Thanks for the introduction. We will get through fairly quickly. It's not a very technical presentation that we have. It's fairly straightforward. Very exciting time to be in Estrella Resources as shareholders and working with Estrella. We are a WA-based exploration company. Fairly straightforward what we do. We go looking for things, drill holes, see whether we can find some fairly serious upside. We've done that at our T5 prospect at Cardboard Rocks, which is our flagship project in a mafic layered intrusion, and we've tagged a massive nickel sulfide at our T5 project. We've got an experienced board and management team that can deliver this exploration play to resource, and that's what we intend on doing. Next slide, please. This is our share capital in Australia currently. We've had a bit of a transformation for the last couple of weeks. October 8th, we announced the discovery of our T5 intersection. Share price has risen significantly. We currently have cash in bank of 3.8 million as our exercise of our deep in the money options comes through. There will be no capital raising in the immediate term as we boost exploration out at Cardboard Rocks. We've got something like $20 million worth of deep in the money options, which our major shareholders and supporters are converting and bringing capital into the company to expand what we're doing at Cardboard Rocks. Next slide, please. And this is where we are. It's a very, very important slide. We are on the doorstep of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. We're only less than an hour's drive out to site. We've got major infrastructure, road, rail. We've got gas pipelines, water, access to water. We've also got major nickel infrastructure both south of us at Black Swan and also out at Kambalda. Obviously, if we think we've found what we have got at T5, we'll probably build our own processing infrastructure to develop this mine in the future, but obviously we've got a little bit ways to go. We have got granted mining leases and exploration licenses covering some 250 square kilometres, and as I said, it covers the mafic layered intrusive, which is a very important thing to know because that's where the big ore bodies are found in these big complexes. Next slide, please. A little bit of history of Cardboard Rocks. It was discovered in the late 60s in the nickel boom. I have mentioned this over some course of some time. It's gone through various hands until it came to Estrella in late 2017. We've been here for a couple of years working away at trying to find the source of the carboid pipes, which was a remobilised sulfide that was mined by WMC in the 1970s. And it is that source that we have been hunting for the last 2 years. And we believe that the carboid pipes mined by WMC in the 1970s is just a small portion of what potentially lies at depth at Cardboard Rocks. Next slide, please. So the source, these Cardboard Rocks pipes, is what we're looking for, is massive nickel sulfides. Total production at the Cardboard mine was around 200,000 tonnes at 1.4% nickel. And, you know, when you do your desktop studies of these things and you're looking from afar, you look at the grade and you go, well, 1.4% doesn't really excite me. It did excite me when I saw the photographs of the massive sulfide. When they were mining these pipes, they took a lot of barren material, and that barren material obviously diluted the mine grade, and also caused complications with the concentrate, the flotation of that, because it increased the magnesium oxide in some of the barren xenoliths that were actually within that host of the pipes. So our aim is to find the source of this massive sulfide, where the pool is. There won't be any xenoliths in there, obviously, in a chamber or where the source material is, and obviously the grade will be, we expect it to be much higher. There was 4 pipes in total found by not only Great Boulder, but also by Defiance Mining and others, as they concentrated on the mining of these pipes over the time in the nickel booms that we've been through over the last few years. And I guess it's that concentration of looking at the mine site and looking at the broader area that we saw as the greater opportunity, looking beyond the mine site, using modern technology to go and hunt down what we believe will be a sizable ore body. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the Carboid Rocks areas, the Carboid Layered Mafic Intrusion, the CLBC, and it's those types of ore bodies that those types of intrusives that hold fairly large nickel sulphide ore bodies. And we've seen that in the Fraser Range with the complex at Nova Bollinger, the Eye, and Legend Mining's Mawson's project in Fraser Range, but also more recent times at Chalice's Julimar project northeast of Perth, and obviously the well-known Savannah North project of Panoramic, recently discovered up in the Pilbara. They're all mafic-layered intrusives, and they are fairly large, and the magmatic bodies and the sulphide bodies that lie within them are difficult to find, but modern technology and modern geophysics has enabled us to more cost-effectively come and explore these particular projects, and that's why we're seeing these discoveries of recent times, and certainly it's why we've had so much success at Carboid Rocks. Next slide, please. We've done some geophysical work, but we've also done geochemical work at the beginning of the year. Once we started to see a fair bit of interesting anomalism to the north of the mine area, we started to concentrate. We moved from the south and we came up to the north. We did some geochemical surveying, and we came up with some fairly interesting copper nickel anomalies. We're now running what we call our phase 4 moving loop, high-powered ground geophysical surveys across those geochemical areas out to the northeast of the Carboid Rocks mine, and that's still running at the moment. We've got GEM Geophysics running that program. That'll run for another few weeks, and we'll see what those geochemical anomalies might hold in the near surface, and then we'll go back and probably attack those areas that we are seeing some geochemical anomalism like we did at Target 5, and do some deep diamond drilling just to see what could lie at depth. And it's how we've approached the T5 target. We did do our phase 3 moving loop. We found T5, and then we had the geochemical anomalism. Next slide, please. So that occurred in 2018-19 that we did do that moving loop geophysical survey of T5. And then we followed that up with some RC drilling. And then we've now come back and targeted it with some fairly deep stratigraphic holes to get an idea of where the contact of this intrusive is. And that's where the mineralisation will be sitting on the contact, potentially at depth. And we've drilled 3 deep diamond drill holes to 600 metres, and we've surveyed those holes with downhole geophysical tools, which you can see beyond the reach of the hole. We're getting a very good indication of what's happening at depth, and it's giving us more encouragement to expand the drill program. Next slide, please. So the initial excitement for us was our RC hole in early 2019. We got a intersection of 4 metres at 1.6% nickel and a little bit of copper in a matrix sulphide zone. It was reasonably high grade, and that gave us the encouragement to step out and go deeper with the particular drilling program that we had over the last few weeks. Hence, when we discovered the deep mineralisation on our southern hole from T5, 300 metres to the south of this particular intersection from CBP 042, we stepped out 300 metres so we could use downhole geophysics just to give us an idea of what may have been sitting there. But we actually hit massive nickel sulphide on the contact, which was just an outstanding result. If I can have the next slide, please. So we did do deep drill holes, deep testing. We did come underneath the RC zone, the 6% nickel over 4 metres, and we did get some more mineralisation at a lower depth on hole 28, and we followed that up with another deep hole, deep 29, on the same section. That hole actually didn't reach contact, and it actually steepened up, went from 75 degrees and steepened up, went down the contact zone, and the contact obviously didn't get penetrated. We've done downhole, and we've got some anomalism on that hole, and we will be coming back in the next few weeks. There's a drill rig moving out onto the same section of hole 29, but we're going to be drilling this particular section from east to west and come from the intrusion back out. Hole 29 is actually drilled west to east and missed the contact, so we won't miss the contact this time. We will hit it at depth with a drill rig starting, I believe, early next week, Monday, Tuesday, and we will test this particular section. Next slide, please. So what we did after 29, we did move south. We drilled hole 30. 30 was the hole we announced on October 8th, which has caused quite considerable excitement between I guess the investment community, but also within our internal camp. It was a significant massive sulphide intersection of 2.9 metres of nickel and copper. We have PXRF that. We do believe that will hold considerable nickel mineralisation. These mafic layered intrusions typically globally average about 2 to 2.5% nickel, and if we get anywhere near 2.5% nickel or above, that'd be extremely exciting for us in a massive sulphide zone that's completely open, both for 300 metres back to the section on hole 29, which we're then going to come back and target in the next round of drilling. Can I have the next slide, please? So that is a section that you can see there of hole 30. We've come in at below an old great boulder hole that was drilled in the 70s. We hit the contact at about 400 metres depth. We've done downhole geophysical surveys of that. It's absolutely worked a treat. It's completely lit up. It's unconstrained conductor in every direction that we've got, both north, south, up dip and at depth, and hence that's why we now have expanded our drill program, and we're going to come back and attack that very, very shortly. Next slide, please. So work program ahead. We've got 2 rigs coming out within the week. We're going to drill 5,000 metres in and around hole 30, targeting it both above and below, north and south, on a 40 by 40 metre pattern. Those holes will be surveyed, and we'll just keep following our nose. If we've hit the best intersection in hole 30, that would be a 1 trillion to 1 chance. We believe that we'll only get better results from here. To have a stratigraphic hole drilled 400 metres and hit contact and hit massive sulphide in your first hole is unreasonable to think. We're very excited with what the geophysics has told us, and hence the immediate expansion of the drill program. We're increasing, obviously, the camp, as you know, and I've said in the past, we have got our foot to the floor now. We're increasing our capacity within the site, hence why I'm able to actually come here live. I'm sitting at Carboy Rocks with the old Carboy Rocks winder shed in the background. We've got communications set up, we've got new roads being put in or upgraded, and camp upgraded, so we can actually accommodate a great deal more personnel as we target this, what we believe is an elephant. Next slide, please. So that's what we are. It's a pretty simple proposition. We're here, we've got money, we're drilling holes, we've made a discovery. It's only very, very early days. It's been 2 weeks and it's been exciting to date, but you haven't seen anything yet. All I can say for our shareholders is please strap yourself in, don't go anywhere. It's going to get really, really, really exciting from here. Thanks, Tim. Pleasure to be here. Thanks very much.
Love the passion, Chris. You've got some passionate shareholders too who have enjoyed the 1,200% rise. So what's the timeline between now and pulling nickel out of the ground?
Thanks, Tim. That's an interesting question. Will we be here to pull the nickel out of the ground in in a couple of years' time. Look, I wouldn't like to sort of get to that point yet, but all I can say is we're going to drill this ore body out. We're going to see how large it is. We're going to attack this with some vigour now that we've tapped into it. We'll use modern geophysical tools to see the extent of this and what's laying at depth. But I can assure shareholders we won't leave any stone unturned. We are going to attack this with everything we've got. We've got $20 million of shareholders' funds that are deep in the money. They're supporting us. I'll continue to support the company. Just strap yourself in. We're off. We're certainly off.
And there's obviously a lot of excitement about the battery chain. And so there's some questions here around, would you look to secure a contract of sale with a company like Tesla or Panasonic or LG? You know, given that Tesla's spoken about in their earnings call, you know, they're looking for a large supplier of nickel over the long term.
Yeah, Tim, look, that's an interesting question. Look, Tesla are obviously hunting for supply. They've told miners to go out and mine more nickel. The thematic of EV batteries is enormous. I've said in the past that, you know, we are on the verge of the boom. If we're not on it now, it's just around the corner. You don't have the likes of BHP expanding their nickel division. It was once up for sale a few years ago. They've put in nickel sulfate plants and already doubled the size of that before they've even built it. Tesla and others. Tesla's just one of many that are going to be hunting for this product. We look to have found quite a interesting discovery that could have some size, could be of interest of Tesla if it's got grade. Grade's going to be key, obviously. Assays are in and they've been expedited. I can say with some reasonable confidence we'll probably see assays next week. That will be exciting because I know there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines waiting for those assays. If they come in, it's going to be very, very exciting from there because that shows us that we've got grade. And we've already determined with the geophysics we've got size. And looking back at the mine, I mean, it was a 40,000 plus nickel sulfide body remobilised. If it's only a small portion of the source that's been remobilised, which it would have, it hasn't been completely remobilised. You can only remobilise up to about 20% of the body. We're looking at something in the range in the hundreds of thousands of nickel tonnes. So that's why we're excited. This sort of ore body and this type of deposit and geological environment is going to deliver a very big ore body for our shareholders, and it's extremely exciting.
Thanks so much, Chris. That's all we got time for. It's great to hear a passionate and excited CEO out in the ground in Kalgoorlie. So have a good weekend. We've got some follow-up questions. I might touch base with you next week on that, if we may.
Thanks, Tim. Pleasure, and thank you, listeners.
Thanks, Chris. That's all we have time for this week. We're back again next week. Thanks for your time.